heck is this?
What you got?
Honestly, I don't know. But, we're gonna need a relics bag.
While standing in front of Trumbull's apartment, waiting for the locksmith to open the door, Juliet begins to reminisce about her time with George. She remembers the moment he gifted her his watch, telling her it's a legal relic and that it's of great importance to him, even though the watch is broken and could only serve as a decorative accessory. A few days later, she returns the watch to him after fixing it, telling him that his enthusiasm for uncovering the history of the relics and the 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐸 is inspiring and ignites a similar passion within her. Before she can further wander off in her memories, Juliet is interrupted by the locksmith, who tells her that it's going to take him some time to open the door. Impatient, she pries the door open with a crowbar, allowing her and the deputies to enter and continue their investigation. While searching the apartment, Billings discovers the candy dispenser that Juliet had planted as part of her plan to bait Judicial into giving her more information regarding George's death. Wanting to learn more about the history of the relic, Juliet and Billings take it to Judicial, telling them that it belonged to Trumbull. Despite refusing to believe that the relic belonged to Trumbull, as he certainly would have known about it, Sims agrees to take it in and look through Judicial's extensive database for more information. Knowing that Judicial might not be completely honest with them regarding their findings, Juliet and Billings meet with Patrick Kennedy, who they know used to deal in relics. However, Patrick tells them that his past dealings are behind him, and he no longer has any ties to criminal activity. Frustrated by this, Juliet forcefully asks him if he knows someone who can help them. At first, Patrick adamantly refuses to help in any way, but eventually, he reluctantly tells her to go see a woman named Regina Jackson, as she might be able to assist them. Armed with this new piece of information, Juliet and Billings visit Regina Jackson's apartment. Upon their arrival, they notice that Regina is hesitant to help them, claiming that she's not a relic dealer. During their conversation, Regina recognizes the watch that Juliet is wearing, saying that it belonged to her boyfriend. This revelation takes Juliet by surprise, and she begins to worry that George may have been unfaithful to her. Noticing Juliet's reaction, Regina reveals that George was skilled with words and was known for being quite the player, constantly moving from one woman to another in order to use them for his own gain. She continues by assuring them that she's not a relic dealer. However, George used her to buy relics for him, under the guise of it being for her big family. Furthermore, Regina knowingly asks Juliet if she believed George when he told her he loved her. This leaves Juliet speechless, with Billings only now understanding the truth of the relationship she had with George. Meanwhile, in Judicial, Sims discovers that the relic Juliet gave him was already registered in the database, as it was once found in George's possession. As a result, Sims informs Bernard and they both head to Juliet's office where Sims confronts her. He accuses her of planting the relic in Trumbull's apartment to trick them into further investigating the murders he committed. However, Bernard comes to Juliet's defense by raising a question. He asks Sims if perhaps Trumbull took the relic from George's apartment while investigating his death, as he thought it was just a random item. Frustrated by his inability to incriminate Juliet, Sims leaves the room. As Bernard is about to leave as well, he advises Juliet that some mysteries are best left unsolved. He urges her to stop investigating the deaths of Marnes and Johns, warning her that if the citizens of the 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐸 were to discover that the two had been murdered rather than dying of natural causes, it could lead to turmoil. After Sims and Bernard leave, Juliet thanks Billings for not exposing her relationship to George with them. However, he expresses his disappointment as during her conversation with them, she kept pointing out that it was Billings who found the relic in Trumbull's apartment, which could make them think that he planted it there. This leads them to have a heated debate, during which Juliet tells him she's noticing how his hands shake whenever he's nervous, which is a clear sign that he has a medical condition called the syndrome. This leaves Billings unable to respond, since he realizes that Juliet has been covering for him this whole time, as it's illegal for a person with the syndrome not to report themselves. Later that evening, Juliet has a heart-to-heart conversation with Martha through the radio. She tells her that she wants to resign from her position as sheriff, as she now realizes that George isn't worth the trouble. However, Martha imparts some words of wisdom to her, advising Juliet to continue her investigation, not for George's sake, but because uncovering the truth is the right thing to do. She also urges her to never give in to fear like she has, emphasizing that she hasn't been able to step outside of her workshop for over 20 years, all because of fear. Encouraged by Martha's words, Juliet decides to pay Regina another visit. This time, Regina seems even more distressed and tells Juliet that she doesn't want to talk to her anymore. She then begins to explain in an erratic manner that there is a man who knows everything, and he comes to her apartment every night. When Juliet asks when this started, Regina tells her that the Judicial stripped her of everything she had, leaving her with nothing and no one. Feeling reassured by Juliet's sympathy and belief in her story, Regina reveals that she has hidden something inside her welcome mat that Judicial never found. She reaches inside the mat and pulls out a wrapped relic. Regina explains that this relic was passed down to George by his mother via his Aunt Gloria, and that it even predates the silo itself. Juliet eagerly takes the relic to her apartment, where she carefully unwraps it to reveal a children's travel book titled Amazing Adventures in Georgia. As she flips through the pages, she's amazed by the beautiful images of the outside world, including breathtaking beaches and other natural wonders. Meanwhile, inside a control room of sorts, two men are watching almost every room and space inside the silo through numerous cameras and on dozens of screens. However, they become fixated on Juliet's apartment as they watch her flip through the travel book. Astonished by what they're seeing, the two men decide that they need to wake up their boss immediately so he can witness Juliet's criminal act.